down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Brizzy.
and this week we are taking Breezy's request because she really wanted to watch this one,
Yeah.
and it's called 247 Degrees Fahrenheit.
Mm.
Where did you first hear about this movie, Breezy?
I think it was like under an app and I watched it and I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's considered horror, but I think it's more of a psychological horror. I mean, it's not there's no killing involved, but
Right.
um it's a 2011 movie and you can watch it on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
And like surprisingly the cast like there's a there's a few of them that I actually recognize. One is Taylor Scott Compton, which she played
Yep.
Jenna,
Mm-hmm.
and she was actually very young in that one.
Yeah, this one was this like her first movie or something?
I think so. I don't know if this was not, but she looked really young.
Yeah.
And then you got Tyler Main, which is Wade, which he's actually um Michael Myers from
Oh,
the Rob Zombie, which he would be at Crypticon.
oh,
So he's in
nice.
there. And then Thomas Van Winkle, which is Ian, which I recognized him
Friday
because
the
he was
13th.
in like kind of like the asshole guy from 2009 versions of Friday the 13th.
Yep. Cool. So there's a
So
lot of so out of there's basically four main characters. Well, five if you count the uncle. And so like three of them are all people that are recognizable from other horror movies.
yep.
Yep. And this is a story about getting trapped in a sauna. Um and it's actually apparently based on a true story.
It
Um
is. Yep.
And there's a guy I like to watch on YouTube. He's called Mr. Ballin, and he has a lot of stories. He's got a series called Places You Can't Go and People Who Went Anyways, and it's always about like people getting trapped in horrible, awful places and then usually dying. And this movie reminded me a lot of that. It was like a big Mr. Ballin story.
Huh. I actually never heard of that. It's a YouTuber, right?
Yep. Yeah, I
Oh.
recommend it.
Hmm.
I shout out. Yeah, but anyway, so this movie is kind of like that, but it starts out where, and kind of what Breezy said, I'm gonna completely sidetrack myself, but it's not really a horror so much as it is kind of like a suspense or like
Yeah.
psychological drama, like the tension where you're like putting yourself in that situation. You're like, oh my God, what would I do?
Yep.
That would be so horrible. Oh my God, I can't stand it. It's put me on pins and needles just watching it. But but it's not horror like here comes Pinhead with his fucking
Right.
chains gonna rip you apart kind of thing, you know. But anyway, so it starts off Scout and her boyfriend are in a car and they're making plans about like bed shopping and things. And like right away she's like all up in his grill. I'm like, "Girl, you're gonna get in an accident. Give him some room." And then all of a
Right.
sudden it's like blam, they're in an accident. And it's like, well, I don't think that was because she was in his face, but it's funny that I was thinking that. And then
Yeah. And then
and
he ended up passing away too. Got killed in that car accident.
Yep. And so it's like, well, I was kind of like, well, what was the purpose of that? And I guess it's because like later on, she's like kind of tweaking out, like she's, having a hard time in the sauna because of the past, even more so than average person would because of the past
Yeah,
trauma.
and she was supposed to take this like I don't know what kind of meds, but she was supposed to take these meds to help her. But during when she was, well, we're probably gonna go all over the place. But when they
Yep.
go in that cabin or night away or weekend away, getting away, whatever, they go in
Mhm.
this cabin and it was just the three of them because the other guy was just drunk and high.
Yeah.
And pretty much like they got out of the sauna and then or he did and knocked the I think the ladder
Yeah, it looks like a
on the
ladder.
yeah, the door.
Almost
So
like a steps, but a ladder, like wooden kind of steps, but ladder at the same time, if that makes sense. It's got a little bit of
yeah,
an angle to it.
yep.
Yeah.
And then she didn't take her med, so she was like kind of tweaking in there, but
Yep, exactly. And apparently that's part of the real life story too, is that the one girl's boyfriend was killed before it all happened. Like, and so there was that was part of the trauma of it all.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, they're going to it's her and her friend, two girls, and then the two guys, two couples. They're going to the one guy's uncle's Wade's cabin in the woods, and there's going to be a party. It's going to be a great old time. So they drive their boat over there, and they're out in the middle of nowhere, and they're all talking about how they're going to go to this party later, and so then they're like, look, check this out. My uncle built a sauna, and they're like, oh, this is nice. And then they go out in like the water, and then they go back in the sauna, and they're like, and then the uncle's like, well, here's some weed, and then the one guy's smoking shit ton of weed, and
And
then
they were drinking too.
eh,
They were just hammered.
yeah, which great idea. Just get fucking shitty drunk and then go in the sauna.
Yeah. Well, I think one point they were drinking like beers in the drama sauna. I was
hmm
like, I like going to the sauna, but I prefer my water, not alcohol.
Right, yeah. Not the most healthy option in the sauna, but they're having a grand old time. Uncle Wade leaves. He's got to go run his errand, which turns out to be he's running the fireworks show, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So they take off, and then I can't remember their names, but the one guy and his girlfriend start getting in a fight because he wants to go smoke more weed and have some more sex, and she's like, "Settle the fuck down, Jesus."
Yep.
And they're like, "We're gonna chill in the sauna," and he's like, "Okay." So he kind of stumbled drunk asses off into oblivion. And then meanwhile, when the other three of them decide it's time to leave, they can't get out because there's some damn thing in the way, and they shove and shove and shove.
Well, they
And
kept calling for him and he never showed up that and then they were getting starting to get too hot. And
yep,
then they're like she wanted to go out and all of a sudden like they couldn't
yep,
get out.
yeah. Like at first, there's a little bit of give, like it opens like a few inches, but then after they try it a few times, it's just kind of like a thud, and then it can't like move
Yeah.
anymore. And then so then they're like, what are we gonna do? Blah da da, this and that, and they're yelling, yelling, yelling. Nobody's coming. And so there's a little glass window in the door. So finally, they decide they're going to bust that out because that'll at least help. So they get one of the rocks out of the heater. Oh, they look at the heater and he's like, "Oh, it's gas. We don't want to mess with that because
Yeah.
it could explode. So we're not going to f around with the heater." So, but
And they didn't have too much water bottles in there either. I think they
yep,
had like maybe two and they were quite running low on water too. So they pretty much had to save it.
yep,
Well, then I think they got stuck in there for probably a few hours because now they're really, sweating bullets
yep.
and they're agitated and they're like fighting with each other.
hmm
And like poor guy, like pretty much wrapped his hands, I think, and then tried to grab it, one of the
Yeah,
rocks, and then tried to smash it. Well, it's a pretty thick glass too.
yeah.
He was like going pound and pound and pound and
And you
just
can see it like just makes little like nicks and chips in it at first. Like he's just wham, wham. Like it looks like he's really smashing on some with a big rock on a piece of glass. Like,
yeah, and you could tell that like his hands are starting bleeding because the rock is so hot.
yep, exactly. But they do eventually get the window open, and then he gets the glass out, and then they can take turns sniffing at the window, get a little cooler
Air.
air. Yeah, and then he can kind of see that the ladder thing is down, and so he tries hooking something up with like a towel and trying to swing and knock it out of the way,
Yeah,
but
I put a
that's not
rock in
where.
there, put a rock and tie it, and he tried with the towels that they had
Yep.
in there and try
Yeah.
to knock, and he couldn't do it.
Just couldn't get it because it's just a little round window. He couldn't get enough like
Yep.
leverage to do anything. Um, and then they find a little like thermostat on the inside, but they're like, well, we don't know what's going to happen if you break that. It could shut off or it could turn on to maximum strength, which would be about just under 250 degrees. Hence the name 247 degrees
Yeah,
Fahrenheit.
that's hot.
Yeah. I know when I'd go to the sauna, I think that was usually, now I'm going to sound like an idiot. I think it was usually 160. in the
That
sauna
ain't
when
too
I'd go in.
bad.
Yeah, I think between 160 and 190, and everyone would always complain that this isn't very hot. This could be a lot hotter, but it's still
Yeah, it's same with me. Like I love going to sauna. I
uh,
just love it. I mean, I'll go in there with my t-shirt or jacket. And
yeah,
the guys are like, how can you take it? I'm like, I honestly don't know how I take it so well.
yeah,
But like I stay in there about 15 minutes. That's the max you can actually do. But
hmm
sometimes I go in there just a little bit longer. But if like thinking about this movie and me wearing this or whatever and putting them in their shoes, I think I'll get way too agitated to myself.
yeah, exactly. Um, I would go in there and actually in real life one time I was at the sauna and it was really crowded and there was a guy standing against the wall and then all of a sudden he just passed out and fell face first like wham. And then as
Hopefully,
soon
you
as
didn't go on the heater.
no, he fell, landed on the boards, and it went, and then like people are like, "Are you okay?" And he got up right away, and then they got him out of there and got him water and help. But
Wow.
that just shows you how dangerous sauna can be.
Yep.
But uh anyway, so they kind of the dog starts barking and they're yelling for the dog, and the dog's like trying to get somebody's attention. But then they cut to Michael, and he apparently passed out because he was so drunk and high, and then got up and assumed they all went to the party. So he goes off and meets up with Uncle Wade in town, and they're still just chilling, smoking. So they're not coming back anytime soon. Cut back to our heroes in the sauna are starting to get desperate.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
this point, they were like really, really struggling to.
They ran out. I think they had like 4 bottles of water, and he poured some of it in the bucket so that he could try to cool off the rock after he got it
Yep.
out of the thing to smash the window. And so then finally the one girl's like, "Well, I'm just gonna break that thing," and then Scout's like, "No, he said that you can't break it because, what if it gets super hot?" And she's like, "Well, what else are we gonna do? We gotta break." Oh, they tried before that. He tried to short it out, and
Yep.
they got the towel wet, and he tried to like do something thinking he could short it out, and it made a big like,
Yep.
and the lights
He,
went.
yeah, he electrocuted himself because he like took it and then
Yeah,
he knew what was coming, but he had to just see what it would do because you only have so many options.
right,
And it's
exactly.
not a,
Yeah,
so yeah, you took it in there and he electrocuted himself and there was like foaming crap coming up, but eventually he came back to or
yeah,
life.
yeah.
But
He revived. He didn't that didn't kill him, but yeah, it was pretty grisly for a minute there. But that just knocked out their light, so now they don't have any light in there, and it's still hot. So then finally she's like, "I'm just gonna break it," and then Scout's like, "No, you can't." And then they're fighting, and then Scout takes the rock and whomp, hits her on the head and knocks her out cold. And
yeah,
then he's like trying to help her, and then he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And she's like, "You said it was like the most important thing." And he's like, "I don't fucking know. I'm talking. I don't know what. I'm just guessing how." And so then she gets pissed and smashes it. Well, then it's worst case scenario because the heater kicks on. You just made it go to maximum.
yeah,
So then it's getting pretty hot now. We're getting spoiler alert. So for the ending, but finally, the guy, he just like it can't take it anymore. Like their skin is like actually starting to burn. So he just basically goes and like bear hugs the heater and tries to like do
yeah,
something.
rip
And
it right out.
he's kind of just going like bear hugging it and going ah. And you see the pipe where it's connected to the gas is like kind of
Yep.
bending and bending, and then and you can see it's like burning his chest as he's and his arms as he's and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
bada boom, the whole fucking thing blows up, and he's
Yeah, he
like,
pulls it right off and the whole rocks and the whole thing landed right on his chest and he ended up dying in the sauna.
"Yup." And then she Scout like flies out the door, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm free." And then she's like going and like drinking water, but then it's like kind of like she's seeing visions of her friend like laying on the floor and stuff, and then it's like,
Yep.
oh, she's actually just like hallucinating, tripping out because she's still in the sauna. That was all just a dream. Because and then she had rigged her unconscious friend up with like a towel so that she was like hung up by her arms next to the window with her mouth just
Yeah,
up.
because gas at this point, gas is really leaking at this point.
Yep. Now their problem isn't that the sauna is hot. Now the problem is that the room's filling up with gas and they only got a tiny little window for ventilation. So
Yep.
he gets Scout gets the friend rigged up to the window and then basically passes out on the floor. And then they cut to they finally Wade finally finds the next morning she's just up against the window with her mouth like that.
Well,
And he's like,
Scout did took a towel and
yeah.
stuck it in the gas pipe at one
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. I forgot about that. Yeah. So they finally get found, and he's like, "Holy fuck!" And they show Michael. He's bawling, and like I would be too. Fuck.
Well, yeah,
And
I mean, you left your friends in there.
yeah, and they do show it was his fault. Like when he got out, because at first it was kind of questionable. Was he doing it as a prank, or was he doing it to be mean and then forgot about it? But they show like he basically stumbled out and kicked it, and then sort
Yep.
of half-ass set it back up. And then they show like when they push it the first couple times, it slides a little bit, and then it slides down further, and then it's stuck.
Yep.
So it's like yeah. So, and then they show the one girl's in the hot, they're in the ambulance, and first girl reaches over, grabs Scout's hand, and you see a tear come out of her eye. So apparently she's still alive if she's crying. So,
Yeah, they both were.
okay. So, but
Yep.
they show her skin is all like blistered to hell,
Yeah,
and
it
it's gross.
very, very dehydration. And
Yeah.
also like if your skin gets that wet and you try to do so many things to get out of there, and if
Mm,
your skin is broken open, that causes an infection too because it's not dry, it's all moist and wet and yeah,
yep.
it's gross.
Yeah. Exactly. So, so what I would think about this movie is if this was just made up like fiction, like, and I watched this, like I was thinking, this is kind of slow, this is not. But then you think about this is an actual true story, and apparently it's pretty accurate to what how it actually happened. And so then it's kind of like, oh, this is that makes it more interesting, really, because it's
Yeah,
like,
it
oh
does.
shit, this really did fucking happen. And so then you kind of instead of it being like, oh, well, this is slow and boring, it's like, well, it was probably slow and boring for them while they were roasting to fucking death, and that's part
Yeah.
of the story. So I give it a little credit that way. But if you're looking for like what we said the last time, if you're looking for monster running around killing people, chopping heads off and stabbing ice picks through their eye socket, this isn't that kind of horror movie. This is more of a slow burn,
Yeah,
no pun
it's
intended.
yeah, I
Okay, it was
mean,
intended, never mind.
I really enjoy it because again, I like going in the sauna. So it's like every time I go in the sauna, I always think about, the movie and also worst case scenario, I'm like, if I do get stuck in sauna, what should I do? That's why I look around. I'm like, okay, this, which you never know. I
From
mean,
now
you
from
never
now
know.
on, you never know. From now on, my new rule is I'm not going in the sauna unless I have a chainsaw. So in case I
Well,
need to
yeah,
just
yeah, I guess that
then
could
that way
work.
you always got a way out.
Yep.
So,
I mean, probably to some, or if not, a lot of people think this is going to be a boring movie,
mm.
which, true, but
But
I
they
like
do
it.
they tell the story in a good way because you know that they're going to get trapped in the sauna, but you don't know exactly how. And because they show that scene with the car crash at the beginning, I was like kind of almost thinking one of them was gonna like lock him in on purpose for like revenge, like you killed my brother, you bitch, or
Yep.
something like that. So I was waiting it for it to be something kind of like that. So it adds a little mystery and a little uncertainty to it too, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you rate it?
This one I'll probably like rate it around like I'll probably want to say about a five, even though I really enjoyed it. I do like the true story and I
Yep.
like the sauna. I do like, I just wish there was like a little bit more, like the ending was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like I do like how they cut it off, but I like it like talk a little bit more. I don't know, something I need more, a little bit more on the ending part, I
They
feel
used
like.
They used to always like it back in the day whenever you'd have a movie based on a true story, then at the end they would have like the words come up that would be like, so and so spent 5 years in the burn ward, but eventually recovered and went on to
Yeah.
become the head at the cracker factory or whatever. That you need that little bit of like what happened afterwards, since it's based on a true story. Don't just cut with them in an ambulance driving away. And I said, well, did she live or what happened? I
Yeah,
just
and
watched
even
this whole
on
sauna thing.
even on like the movie, like how does people like first timers like me, first time watching this movie, I didn't know that it was a true story. They didn't even put it on the movie.
Oh, I think they did at the very beginning.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, you must have
Okay,
looked, but
well,
it's like just for a second, I think.
I was
Maybe they
like,
didn't. I
okay,
don't know if they did or not. Maybe it says it in the description on Tubi. Somewhere I knew it was based on a true story, but it might not be in the actual movie.
okay, oh yeah, but like in the actual movie, they should have,
Right.
include that because it
Yeah.
is.
Right. And that's the only, like, if it wasn't, like I was saying before, if it wasn't based on a true story, I'd be like, nah. But I agree with you completely. I say five because I was interested in it and it was entertaining. And it's like, oh my God, this sucks for those people. And it's a good story. But at the same time, it's only so much you can do with people trapped in the sauna for an hour and a half. And so
Right.
it gets a little slow, but that's part of it.
Yep,
So
for
five.
sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say about 247 degrees
No, just
Fahrenheit?
don't get stuck in the sauna.
Don't get it stuck in the fucking sauna. Don't do it. It's dumb. Yeah. All right. Well, tune in next time. We'll have another great episode. Keep
Hmm.
liking, sharing, subscribing. We're starting to get some bigger numbers on Spotify. So, woohoo.
Well, I
Um,
don't check Spotify, I check our YouTube, but
yeah, I usually check YouTube
that's
too, but
that's
maybe
good.
maybe we got to start really cranking on the Spotify. That's whatever that means. All right.
I don't know.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.